Let's play a little friendly game called Never Have I Ever. I'll start with my handful, and I'll start with Never have I ever felt like a big procrastinator. Never have I ever have given up what I had to do because I felt not motivated to do that week. Never have I ever been not productive when I should have been productive because I got overwhelmed with all my tasks. Never have I ever been conflicted about finishing a task over another one because I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to finish it. Never have I ever felt like I just ran out of time and the whole week passed me by and I barely got anything done. If you're looking at the video element, you can see that all my fingers are down because I have done all of those things and felt all of those things. I think we often feel that, and I'm speaking for all of us right now, but I think we often feel like we never have time for anything anymore. Especially when you're in your mid 20s, I feel like that becomes an issue where you have a job and you want to be as productive as you can, but that is not always the case. Sometimes shit happens and you have to improvise, and I feel like the reason why it happens where we either procrastinate, we don't feel as productive. One is because we're in a world where nothing is enough, first of all, right? Nothing is enough. Your effort is not enough, and you need to keep doing and keep doing. That's the first thing. And I think the second thing has to do with the way that we organize and we visualize our week. We need to be the architects of how our week should look like. We shouldn't give power to, let's see, whatever happens, happens. If we fail, we fail, which sometimes going with the flow is a great mentality to have with other situations. But I think when it comes to being productive, you need to think of it as you're the only one who can control you being productive. And you're the only one who can keep yourself from being productive. So I think it all comes down to how you plan ahead, how you get ahead of the curve and make sure that you have a successful week or day in the sense of being productive in your professional life. So today's episode is essentially going to be about that. How do we make the most out of a busy week, of a stressful week, of a stressful day? How do we not get overwhelmed with life and everything that we have to do? If you're someone that's very busy, you need to have some structure, and sometimes that takes a lot of effort because you need to create that habit. But I'm going to give you my tips on things that have worked for me. So I want you to think about this upcoming week. On today's mindful moment, let's think about, what do you have coming up? What stresses you the most? What do you think has priority? Start thinking about what has more priority over other tasks. How can you better take advantage of this week? The first thing that you need to understand, the first thing, is that Sundays should be sacred. And I know I might get a little blowback from this because there's controversial opinions of what Sundays should be. For some people, it should be a day to chill, to not do absolutely anything. For other people, it's brunch time, Sunday fun day. It's the time to take advantage of that last little ounce of happiness of the weekend. And for others, it's like, oh, I need to work. Sunday scaries, right? So there's a different moods for Sundays. And with this, I don't intend anyone to change the way they see Sundays. But if you struggle with procrastination, if you struggle with being productive, I recommend that you make your Sundays sacred. And what I mean by that is that Sundays set the tone for what your entire week will look like. And I usually take Sundays, of course, to rest. But another part of that day, because it's all about balance, it doesn't mean that you're going to spend the whole Sunday stressing over Monday. and that week. And it doesn't mean that you're just gonna lay in your bed like a potato. It's all about balance. I usually take my Sundays very chill at the beginning of the day. I wake up at the time that I want to wake up. I have coffee, I have mindful moments, and then in the afternoon, I take some time to sit down, not even to go hardcore on it, but just to sit down and plan my week. Because I see Sundays as, if you're an architect, you sit down to design what your ideal week would look like. What are the main things that you have to do? List them out. What are some appointments that you have? Just organizing your week is just such a good way for setting yourselves for success. And sometimes what happens and why we get overwhelmed is because we get there Monday morning, we have no idea what's ahead of us. So we spend most of the first hours of our day trying to think of everything that we need to do instead of just sitting down, reading the list that you already crafted on Sunday and doing those things and allocating the time for it. I feel like sometimes what happens is that we just are overwhelmed with not having enough time to do everything in a day. When if you plan ahead, that disappears. So to me, Sundays are sacred, and that doesn't mean I go hardcore planning, hardcore working, or hardcore just relaxing. It's essentially about having balance. Another thing that I think is important is hot list. And I used to call them just to-do list, but lately a coworker has been incorporating the word hot list because it's just like more fun. And essentially what a hot list is, it's just the most important things that you have to do on that day or on that week. I like to have a top 10 hot list. So it sounds like this like playlist or like the hot list for the summer music and stuff, but essentially it's about things that you need to do. In my top 10 hot list, I divided into two. So the first top 5 things are things that you have to get done today. That those are the things that you have to get done, yes or yes. And top 10, the rest of the other 5 things are things that would be nice that you got done that day. And I do a hot list every day. And that just sets me up for knowing, hey, if I finish all 10 things, it's going to be great. But mainly, I just need to focus on those 5 things. And if I have time, I'll finish those other 5 things. So it takes off some pressure off of it, because if you don't visualize what you have to do, sometimes it's so easy to get over your, like, to get in your head and feel like you just have no time to get anything done. So doing a hot list every day has worked wonders for me. Also, setting boundaries is very important, and that starts with your calendar, my friend. I don't know how they do it in your company where you work, or in your small business. For us, it's Google Calendar. And what we do with Google Calendar is that we allocate the time wisely. And what that means is not only just put in, hey, I have a meeting with this person, I have to get this done. It's not just for meetings. Google Calendar, or whatever calendar you use, if it's like a physical calendar too, it's not just about setting time with others, it's about setting time with yourself too. We realized that when we were using our calendars at work, that we were just using it for meetings and not in because we had all that space open, anyone could just schedule a meeting where you have no time to work on things for yourself, to do some solo work. So block that time up. Time blocking is the best thing that has ever happened to me, because it sets those boundaries. Whoever sees my calendar knows that from 3 to 4, I'm unavailable, and I might be doing some self-care. I might be doing some solo work. I might be going to lunch. I might be doing self-improvement. I might be doing whatever I want because I allocated that time to what I needed. If what I needed was a break, I allocate that time. If what I need is going to lunch, I allocate that time. If what I need is working on this one project that is blowing my mind right now, I allocate it. So that way you create boundaries so people understand that your time is valuable and you should be the one that decides what to do with it. Another thing that you need to consider, and this doesn't only come with work, it comes with everything, your personal life too, is that you need to put as much value on being alone as you would put on hanging out with others. And this goes outside of work. But I think it's important that we are intentional in putting time for just being with ourselves, just hanging out with yourself. Like literally from the morning of my Saturday, I want to go to a coffee shop or I actually just want to lay down in bed and watch a movie. The same effort you should put also in hanging out with people. We are social beings, and part of our happiness comes with hanging out with others and connecting with others. So it's also important, even if you're a little shy, even if you're not outgoing, it's important that you spend time with people you love, because once you put care on your relationships, they will put care back. So you cannot expect to have a perfect relationship and everyone just reaching out to you if you don't put that effort. So just, I know this is about productiveness, but it's important that we have a balanced life in order to be productive. And with that comes my last point of break your big week goals into smaller daily goals. And when I say there needs to be balance, is that if you overwork yourself, if you think, hey, you know what, I'm going to put all of my tasks from Monday to Wednesday so I don't have a lot to do Thursdays and Fridays. If you overwork yourself, that overworking will turn into overwhelming. And that overwhelming will turn into procrastinating, because procrastination has a direct link to being overwhelmed, to feeling like you have too much on your plate. It's essentially a self-defense mechanism that your brain creates, where it shuts down and you can't get anything done because it's so full of stress and pressure that your brain is like, hold on, I need to protect myself. So I'm going to shut down, not do any of those things, and just lay in bed and forget about all of my responsibilities. So what is the best solution for procrastinating? Don't push yourself to the edge where you can't handle anymore. You should always push yourself to be better, but you need to understand that there's a limit, and you also should take care of yourself. So take your big goals and divide it into little things. If there's a big project that you're working on, in my case, a social campaign, Monday I will reach out to participants. Tuesday I will create the graphics. Wednesday, I will get together with a team to brainstorm some ideas for promotion. Thursday, I will post some content. And Friday, I will launch the campaign. So I obviously don't do all of those things, but what I mean is like I just broke down something that seemed very overwhelming at first into every day. So I don't have a lot and I am motivated to get those things done. So it's important for you to understand that sometimes taking care of yourself is the best way to being productive and having a productive week. So just recapping, plan out your ideal week. You have the choice. How to have a productive week? Plan it out. Plan out what you want your productive week to look like. Then first day, Monday, make a hot list. Okay, let's divide those things. I already have what I have to do. Let's get 5 of those things and put it on my top 5 for the hot list. Tuesday, let's make, okay, I checked some off. Let me add what are the things that are important for Tuesday in your hot list. And allocate time. Allocate the time that you will be spending on those tasks. Allocate the time where you need to relax, take a break. Allocate time for that night to hang out with some friends or watch a movie by yourself. Make sure that you have enough time to decompress. Don't just put it into work. It's not just all about work. That's the main misconception that people have when they want to be productive, is that they think that they need to put all of their efforts in that one thing at work. And that's not it. It's all about balance. So finally, just break it up into smaller things that are not overwhelming so you never procrastinate again. And also, I just want to give a little reminder before I close this out that if you do procrastinate, that's okay. You just need to understand why that is happening. And whenever you're procrastinating and you're like, I don't feel like doing anything, just sit with that feeling and don't try to fight it. Just sit with that feeling and get the rest that you need. Maybe that means that you're not getting enough rest. So get the rest that you need, and then the next day, just have a mindful moment where you think about, why did it come down to me feeling that way? Am I not getting enough rest? Am I overworking myself? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind and understand that it's okay if you feel that way. Everyone feels that way at some point. Sometimes things are stressful and there's no planning that I can tell you that will solve that. So it's important to understand that it's okay. If you feel overwhelmed, it's okay. If you have procrastinated, it's okay. I think it's just a matter of getting up, trying it all over again. And if you fail, you fail. You will try again next week. If you are in your 20s and your 30s, you still have a lot of years to go where you will fail and you will learn. And maybe you'll get to an old age and you'll still be learning. So the important thing is that you learn, you adjust, and you keep going. So with that, I say goodbye to you guys. I hope you have a productive week. I will assign you homework. Just think about what you have to get done this week. Write it out. Write it out on a list and pinpoint the most important things that you need to get done. Create a hot list, block your calendar, do any of the things that I talked about today. And then, hey, let's check in next week and see how you did. And I hope you have the most productive week. Let's make it happen, Dallas. I'll see you next week.